3.4. Writing hand SEBI's Investor Charter. Benefit a conclusion appreciable step by SEBI. This will help in a long way in ease of doing business and ease of doing investment, more clarity over rights and responsibilities financial market participants, individual investor, share broker, stock exchange, depository, underwriter, companies etc., a deepening of the financial market, mobilization of savings to the productive channels of economy. 15.13.5. SEBI, why protect investors, and black up pointing double triangle investors' participation. Figure 5. Share market scams erode public's hard-earned savings, alcoholism, depression, suicide and other social ills. Duped investors will shy away from share market, and they may invest in gold. Real estate equals not very beneficial to economy, as it our import bill creates black money opportunities. If households don't participate in capital market, companies will have to approach the banks to get more loans. But banks' lending capacity is limited by CRR, SLR, PSL, NPA, PCA, REF in pillar #1B2. If more retail investors participate in capital market equals deepening of the capital market, factory expansion, job creation, and economic growth. 15.13.6. Measures to black up pointing double triangle retail investors' participation, 25% public holding in gov companies, budget 2019. For all the listed government companies, we will strive for minimum 25% public shareholding. SEBI to raise minimum public shareholding in listed private sector companies to 35%. Art Minerva, minimum shareholding related norms deferred under corona crisis. 15.13.7. SEBI reforms to boost investors' confidence. Harshad Mehta, 1992, Keaton Parekh, 2001, arranged money from banks, used it for rigging the share prices to make windfall gains during bull runs by other investors. Once the prices crashed, small investors suffered. To prevent such scams, SEBI introduced circuit breaker system, wherein if fluctuation in the share prices is more than X% than previous day, then stock exchange must stop trading for Y minutes. 15.13.8. Alarm clock T+1 settlement instead of T+2. Badler system, a carry-forward system, buying of shares using borrowed money and making promises to carry forward the settlement for up to 72 days. Scamsters misused, so SEBI discontinued Badler system in 2001 and introduced T+2 rolling settlement system, i.e. after trade is conducted, the parties must settle it within 2 working days, equals buyer pays money, seller delivers shares, bonds, securities. Settlement cycle represents the time period within which the stock exchanges have to settle security transactions. Until now we had T+2 days, but from 2022, T+1 started. T+1 means settlements will have to be cleared within 1 day of the actual transactions taking place. Benefits: black down pointing double triangle volatility, speculation, faster release of shares of funds. How, not imp. Foreign investors unhappy due to time zone difference creating operational challenges for them. Batch, PCB7, Mrunal's economy pillar #. 15.13.9. Dabber trading, insider trading, IPF. Dabber trading, a bucketing box trading. While share trade occurs at stock exchange linked with demat accounts, the dabber trades occur in the unofficial books alleges of an unscrupulous broker. He may or may not execute those orders in actual demat account. Investor prone to scam, gov deprived of taxes. So, SEBI declared it illegal. Insider trading, whenever company launches new products, wins unique patents, or undergoes merger, acquisition, its share prices may black up pointing double triangle. If a person associated with company uses such confidential information for buying or selling shares to make windfall gains, such insider trading is illegal. SEBI requires stock exchanges, BSE, NSE etc., and commodity exchanges, NSEL, MCX etc., to set up Investor Protection Fund, IPF. IPF covers investors' non-speculative type of losses, e.g. if the other party is not delivering shares because of some court case. IPF also promotes investor education and awareness. 15.13.10. Stopwatch, algo trading and colocation. Algo trading equals some brokers. Companies use algorithmic trading computer programs to automatically buy or sell securities at a speed and frequency that is impossible for a human trader. This can be misused for manipulating the share prices. While SEBI has not banned it, but issued technical measures, e.g. a single broker, investor can't place more than 100 online orders per second. Colocation equals stock exchange allowing the share broker to install their office or computer systems very close to stock exchange. Then brokers' computers can monitor or buy or sell shares quicker than a computer sitting 500 kilometers away, so colocation gives added advantage, ESP, for the algo traders. 2021, SEBI fines NSE for violation of some norms related to colocation. 15.14. Bond market reforms. 15.14.1. Unified bond market. At present, 1. Gov bonds, GSEC, market, 2. Private sector corporate bonds market are functioning separately. Because OA, RBI depository for GSEC T-bill is separate. Where govs, banks, NBFCs and primary dealers can participate, and minimum investment guidelines are high, e.g. investors' GSEC buying order must be minimum, X lakh rupees, else RBI rejects application. OB, SEBI regulated depositories, for non-government equals private sector's share bonds, is separate, where retail investors or common men register and participate. Budget 2019 promised reform to connecting these two platforms to facilitate retail investors' participation in GSEC. 2020, SEBI proposed unified bond market, where both GSEC and corporate bonds will be available for buying and selling. This will 1. Help Gov mobilize public savings more easily for its welfare schemes. 2. Give small or retail investors easier opportunity to invest directly in GSEC. 15.14.2 GSEC Trading Retail Investors, RDG, at RBI. RBI launched Retail Direct Scheme in 2021. Under this scheme, RBI permits Retail Direct Gilt, RDG, account for retail investors on its eKuba online platform. Both resident Indians and non-resident Indians, NRIs, can open this account. Then retail investors can directly buy Treasury bills, T-bill, GSECs, of Union Government, State Development Loans, SDLR GSECs of State Govs, and sovereign gold bonds, from RBI directly. Application fees to open the account equals 0. Benefit: 1. Earlier retail investors bought GSEC indirectly, through mutual funds wherein mutual fund manager, MF, charged commission of fees. Now retail investor can buy directly so does not have to pay such commission of fees to MF managers. 2. Deepening of GSEC market through blackup pointing double triangle retail participation. 15.14.3 GSEC Trading, RBI's NDSOM, OTC. RBI owns and regulates Negotiated Dealing System, NDS, for trading in GSEC. Clearing Corporation of India Limited, CCIL, a company founded by SBI, IDBI, ICICI, LIC etc., maintains this system. NDS system for recording the transactions of GSEC buy-sell. NDS has following components. Telephonic, i.e. buyer seller call each other on the telephone, make the deal about buying and selling and then inform the Reserve Bank's NDS system, KE we've done this deal. Over the counter, OTC. Buyer physically walks into the seller's office, or vice versa, and conducts the transaction. Later they report transactions to RBI's NDS system, KE we've done this deal. NDSOM. Negotiated Dealing System Order Matching System, NDSOM. Electronic, computer screen-based, anonymous, order-driven trading system for dealing in GSEC's secondary market. Buyer-seller places orders online without knowing names, phone numbers of each other. FAQ, then what is eKuba? ANS, eKuba is the core banking solution, CBS, REF Pillar 1A1, platform of RBI to digitally handle all operations of RBI, e.g. NEFTRTGS, repo, MSF, CR, PSLC certificate trading, GSEC, sovereign gold bond, retail direct scheme, RDG, etc. You may think of eKuba as a Windows operating system, and NDS as a subcomponent, Excel software inside of it that handles GSEC buying, selling, database management, and account keeping. Batch, PCB7, black question mark ornament MCQ. Find correct statements, asked in prelims 2021, 1. Retail investors through Demat account can invest in Treasury bills and Government of India debt bonds in primary market. 2. The Negotiated Dealing System Order Matching is a Gov securities trading platform of the Reserve Bank of India. NDSOM. 3. The Central Depository Services Limited is jointly promoted by the Reserve Bank of India and the Bombay Stock Exchange. CDSL codes A, 1 only B, 1 and 2C, 3 only D, 2 and 3. 15.15 Commodity Market, FMC, SEBI merger. A commodity market exchange is a place where buyers and sellers trade goods in bulk, food grains, cotton, precious metals, or energy resources, coal, oil, gas, commodity futures, type of contract for future delivery and settlement of commodity, e.g. On the 1st of May, 2021, I shall deliver you 500 quintals of wheat at X price. Commodity exchanges were under a statutory regulator Forward Market Commission, FMC, under the Ministry of Consumer Affairs and Public Distribution. But Jignesh Shah generated fake receipts without any commodities in the warehouses and traded at NSEL Commodity Exchange. FMC failed to prevent scam. So first FMC transferred to Finance Ministry, and FMC ultimately merged with SEBI, 2015. 15.15.1 Commodity Market, Gold Exchanges, and Budget 2021 Gold Exchange is a special type of commodity market devoted only to gold trading. Budget 2021, we will undertake reforms in the regulation of gold exchange markets in India. 1. SEBI will be the regulator. 2. Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority, WDRA statutory body, under Depth of Food and Public Distribution, will be responsible for warehousing of vaulting, assaying, logistics of gold exchanges. 15.15.2 Commodity Market, Electronic Gold Receipts, EGRs. Stage 1. Gold companies deposit their gold in the warehouses authorized by Warehousing Development and Regulatory Authority, WDRA. It is a statutory body under Ministry of Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution. Stage 2. Warehouse manager generates electronic gold receipts, EGRs. Stage 3. EGR are listed on the SEBI-regulated electronic gold exchanges. Buyer can buy the gold electronically and be assured of the quality. Later he may even sell this EGR to another. Batch, investor, or he may go to warehouse to collect physical gold. Benefits: 1. Assured quality. 2. Tax evasion is difficult due to online transactions monitored by SEBI. 15.16 Related bodies with similar sounding names. Figure 6, at FSDC meeting. FSDC, 2010. Financial Stability and Development Council, Chairman Finance Minister. Other members 1. RBI Governor 2. SEBI Chief 3. IRDAI Chief 4. PFRDA Chief 5. IBBI Chief and Gov officials. Functions. Supervision of the economy and large financial conglomerates, coordination among the financial regulators, financial literacy and financial inclusion. Secretariat Assistance by, FinMinute Department of Economic Affairs, FSB, 2009, HQ, Basel. Financial Stability Board is a brainchild of G20. Functions. Financial monitoring at global level, coordination between national financial regulators bodies. India has 3 seats in FSB, 1, Secretary of Department of Economic Affairs, IAS, 2, DY, Governor of RBI 3, SEBI Chairman FATF, 1989, HQ, Paris. Financial Action Task Force is a brainchild of G7. India member in 2010. Function. Combating money laundering and terror finance. More pill #2. IOSCO International Organization of Securities Commissions. IOSCO is the international body of world securities regulators. SEBI is a member. Famous for its IOSCO guidelines for investors' protection and risk prevention. *ornament Financial Stability and Development Council find correct statements. Pre-2016. 1. It is an organ of Niti Aayog. 2. It is headed by the Union Finance Minister. 3. It monitors macroprudential supervision of the economy. Answer codes A, 1 and 2 only, B, 3 only, C, 2 and 3 only, D, 1, 2 and 3. 15.17 Investment Funds Mutual Fund, MF, 4 AAMAADMI. Figure 7, Swag Middle Class. Observe colors in logo, meant for attracting ordinary crowd. Batch, PCB7, Mrunal's Economy Pillar #1C, SEBI Share Market page 218. Mutual Fund is an asset management company, AMC and BFC, that pools savings of the retail investors and gives them units. MF manager parks this money in securities and builds his portfolio. Whatever dividend or interest is generated from the portfolio, it is distributed among investors in the proportion of their units. Investor pays entry load, equals fees for joining, exit load, equals fees while quitting. SEBI regulates these fees. Due to low deposit rates in banks, people invested money in mutual funds. However, post-IL and FS crisis, Corona crisis, charm declining because mutual funds are subject to such market risks. Baseball, raised hand, side pocketing, SEBI's technical guidelines to help MFS to separate their Illinois and FS type stressed toxic assets from their standard assets. Helps protecting the investors. How? No timp. 15.17.1 Mutual Fund ESG. Sharia mutual funds ESG mutual funds equals these mutual funds will invest clients' money in companies that have good performance on environmental, social and governance ESG aspects. Sharia mutual fund equals these mutual funds will invest clients' money in companies that are compliant with Islamic Sharia law. E.g., they will not invest in alcohol, pork, gambling, etc. related companies. 15.17.2 Mutual Fund SIP, ELSS, ULIP Traditional mutual fund equals client invests entire amount at once. Systematic investment plan, SIP, equals mutual fund wherein client deposits small fixed amounts at fixed interval e.g. month basis etc. Equity linked savings scheme, ELSS, equals it is a subtype of mutual fund where money is locked in for 3 years and invested in equities, shares. It's eligible for certain benefits in income tax. Unit linked insurance policy, ULIP, equals client invest money in a scheme wherein 1. Some goes into mutual fund, 2. Some goes into insurance policy, ref, HDT pillar #1D. 15.17.3 Mutual fund riskometer. SEBI requires mutual fund company to disclose how much risk is present in their scheme on a monthly basis through a digital dashboard called riskometer. It shows 6 categories of risk: low, low to moderate, moderate, moderately high, high, #very high risk. SEBI added this new category very high risk in 2020 October. This helps the investor to make decision which mutual fund he wants to join depending on his risk appetite. 15.17.4 Mutual fund backstop entity. SEBI proposal for stressed MF. Batch, PC. Mutual funds invest clients' money in shares and bonds. Sometimes due to scam or bad news the bond becomes less liquid, illiquid, e.g. MF bought bonds of Vodafone or SpiceJet, later those companies facing difficulties in business. Now MF wants to exit or sell away its bond in secondary market, but no other investors willing to buy those bonds due to negative news about Vodafone or SpiceJet. So bond has become less liquid or illiquid, so SEBI proposed to set up a backstop entity. Organization backstop entity will buy corporate bonds from such mutual funds to reduce their stress. So MF can return money to its clients. FAQ. How is this similar or different than bad bank, RBI's special windows for MF or TLTRO? How will backstop entity cover its own losses? Equals not important because this organization is yet to be established. 15.17.5 Bond buying institution in budget 2021 secondary market provides liquidity to the investor since he can sell existing shares or bonds and hand to others motivation to buy new shares or bonds in primary market capital to healthy new company. But in India, the secondary market for bonds is not fully developed. Inadequate number of large players difficult to resell the bonds at the right prices discourages the investors from bonds difficult for companies to mobilize. So, Budget 2021 proposed to set up a body organization to purchase investment-grade debt securities. This body will buy bonds both in stressed and normal times. Benefit: development, a deepening of the bond market. Raised hand, exact name of the organization. Headquarter: ANS, details yet to be announced. 15.18 Investment Funds Hedge Fund, for Rich AADMI. Figure 8, Swag Middle Class. Observe premium logo designs to attract rich people. Special type of mutual fund meant for HNI, high net worth individual, who wants high risk, high return. SEBI norms, minimum investment per person is 1 Indian rupee crore. Hedge fund manager will invest their money in junk bonds, risky assets. He'll do risky trading activities such as arbitrage, leverage, short selling, future and options, F&O, trading, derivatives trading, etc. to generate maximum return. How is that done in real life? What do these words mean? Equals UPSCCSE not for recruitment of HF managers. 15.18.1 Investment funds. Accredited investor deleting from handout. Not finding exam worthy anymore. Batch, PC. 15.18.2 Investment funds rights, INVITs. For Richard rights, real estate investment trusts dash, INVITs, infrastructure investment trusts dash, who can invest. HNI institutions, minute 2 Indian rupees lakh 50,000 Indian rupees investment 10 Indian rupees lakh. 1 Indian rupee lakh. SEBI blackdown pointing double triangle reduced minimum limits in 2019 to attract more investors. Manager parks the money in real estate projects that are soon to complete. He'll earn income from rent, sale. In airport, highway, thermal plants, gas grid, etc. He'll earn from toll collection at highways, services fees at airports, etc. Example: Blackstone Embassy Group IRB, India Grid White Heavy Checkmark benefits of rights, and INVITs stress developer gets new finance to finish the project while HNI gets new opportunity to invest his money, and he may also sell the units to third party via stock exchange. SEBI permitted these instruments in 2014. Later SEBI relaxed technical norms related to capital, leverage, issue size, but they are not important for us. 15.18.3 Investment Fund Sovereign Wealth Fund. State-owned investment fund, wherein central bank, finance ministry, and other public sector financial intermediaries park their surplus fund. Money used for investment. E.g. 2020 June, Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, ADIA, bought 1.16% of Reliance Jio for 5,600 plus crore Indian rupees. Singapore's GIC Sovereign Wealth Fund, Qatar Investment Authority, QIA, also active in Indian market. Side topic: what is National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, NIIF, ANS, Ref, Pillar number 5, Infrastructure. 15.19 Investment Funds CPSE Exchange Traded Funds, ETF. Disinvestment: government sells its shares from central public sector enterprises, CPSE, but does not reduce its shareholding below 51%. If Gov's shareholding reduced below 51%, then it is called privatization, although NITI prefers the term strategic disinvestment. More in Pill number 2. 2014, Gov wanted to disinvest 10 CPSE, ONGC, Gale Limited, etc. If Gov tried to sell individual company shares, it would be more time consuming, and Gov may not get good prices for each company. So, Gov gave CPSE shares to a fund manager, Goldman Sachs, who created new securities out of it, called Exchange Traded Funds, ETF, and made a new fund offer, NFO, to the public to subscribe to these securities at 10 Indian rupees per unit. If an investor holds the ETF, he will get returns from the dividend generated by those CPSE companies in the back end. He may also sell these ETF to a third party via stock exchange, hence called exchange traded funds. Figure 9. How do exchange traded funds, ETF, work? Bharat 22. Another CPSE ETF, when Gov wanted to disinvest shares from 22 companies including CPSE, PSBs and UTI using ICICI Prudential as fund manager at 2017 to 18. However, PSB and PA problem: poor dividends, Bharat 22 not giving good returns, so investors' response was initially lukewarm. Later Gov announced, we'll give the ELSS Walla income tax benefits to CPSE ETF investors, as well to attract investors. 15.19.1 Bharat Bond, Debt, ETF, 2019 December, Fund Manager, Edelweiss Asset Management Limited, he'll issue Bharat Bond ETF. Maturity, 3 years and 10 years. Unit size, 1,000 Indian rupees each. So even middle-class investors buy these bond ETFs. Fund managers will invest this into a basket of bonds issued by central public sector enterprises, central public financial institutions, CPFIs, such as public sector bank and insurance companies, and other government organizations. ETF will be tradable at the stock exchange. Bharat Bond ETF, benefits? For government companies equals easier and more efficient to borrow instead of individually launching their bonds in the market. For investors equals safety, assured return on bonds, irrespective of government companies' profit. Black up pointing double triangle retail participation deepening capital market. Budget 2020, given success of Bharat Bond ETF, we are planning to launch another debt ETF containing GSEC. This will help the retail investors to invest in GSEC. Batch. MISC, Gold ETF, investors give money, manager buys gold for safekeeping and trades it depending on price movements, returns are divided among the unit holders. In between, the investor may sell his gold ETF to third party via stock exchange, therefore they are also exchange traded funds. How or why no TIMP 15.19.2, CPSE ETF vs Mutual Fund Table 3, Sad that I have to spoon feed this much mutual fund CPSE ETF objective equals invest clients' money in shares or bonds objective different than mutual fund. 1. Help government for its disinvestment. 2. Help government company to borrow money. A Bharat bond ETF. Fund managers may buy sell variety of shares and bonds of government companies and private sector companies for best returns throughout the scheme. He's not doing that. His objective given above. A fund manager may also change the composition of the portfolio. For example, if Infosys shares are not performing well, he may sell them and fill up the box with Wipro shares for better dividend. His portfolio list of gov companies shares or bonds is fixed. It'll not change. 15.20 Investment funds, alternative investment funds, AIF. It's a technical classification by SEBI. AIF category I, they generate positive spillover effects on the economy. Example, venture capital funds, angel investors fund, SME funds, social venture fund, infrastructure funds. SEBI keeps relaxed or lighter norms on them. AIF category 2, neither in Cat 1 nor in Cat 3, e.g. private equity or debt fund. AIF category 3, they undertake excessive risk to generate high returns in short period of time, e.g. hedge funds. SEBI norms are stricter, heavier on them, because otherwise they may destabilize the capital market. 15.20.1, Gov's AIF for real estate sector, 2019. Gov to set up an alternative investment fund, AIF category II, using of Gov, SBI and LIC, total 25,000 CR. Moral outrage, why not in Cat 1? ANS, send your suggestion to SEBI. AIF Fund Manager, SBI Cap Ventures Limited. AIF Fund Manager will give, as debt finance, to builders with unfinished housing projects demand for steel, cement, construction workers equals economic growth. 15.21 Stopwatch forward of future contracts, and call put option. Figure 10. A forward of future contract is a customized contract between two parties where settlement takes on a future date at a price or quantity agreed upon today. E.g. on the 1st of May, 2021 I shall sell you 100 numbers of Infosys shares at 1,000 Indian rupees each. In such contracts, there is a risk of other party not honouring commitment if he's getting better deal elsewhere in the future. So, for protecting equals hedging themselves, they equals buyer or seller may buy option from a third party by paying fees. Option is a type of insurance for executing the forward of future contract in a manner beneficial to them, e.g. I'll sell you for 1,000 Indian rupees on X date, and you must buy. But if I'm getting another buyer who is willing to pay 1,500 Indian rupees, then I may not sell you, and you can't compel me. Such insurance options are further subdivided into call option and put option, their internal difference and real life mechanism not imp. For UPSC. Black question mark ornament, which one of the following terms is used in economics to denote a technique for avoiding a risk by making a counteracting transaction? UPSC CDS 2016 I. A. Dumping, B. Hedging, C. Discounting, D. Deflating. 15.22 Derivatives and swaps. A derivative is a contract whose value is derived from the value of another underlying asset, which could be a share, bond, commodity or currency. They are usually generated by the process of securitization, e.g. NHB taking loan papers from banks, using them to generate new mortgage-backed securities. Swap is derivative instrument to swap one financial asset with another financial asset, usually to reduce the risk, e.g. currency swap agreement between two countries to protect themselves against dollar volatility, more in pillar #3. Similarly, there are credit default swap, CDS, agreement against the risk of default, interest swap agreement to protect against volatility in interest rates. But their mechanisms not IMP. Batch, PCB7, Mrunal's economy. One 5.22.1. Bilateral netting of qualified financial contracts, Act 2020 deleted from 2022 because outdated or faded topic. 15.23 Participatory notes, P notes. A foreigner wishes to invest his money in India, but does not want to go through the hassles of registering with SEBI, getting PAN card number, opening a demat account, etc. So, he will approach a SEBI-registered foreign institutional investor, FII, foreign portfolio investor, FPI, such as Morgan Stanley, Citigroup or Goldman Sachs. He'll pay them and instruct them to purchase particular shares and bonds and store them in their demat account. Then FII will give him P notes, and he'll receive interest and dividend accordingly. He may also sell those P notes to a third party. P notes are offshore derivative instruments that derive the value from the underlying Indian shares and bonds. Figure 11, SEBI. P notes are harmful for Indian economy because P note investors are not directly registered with SEBI. Identity of the actual investor, source of funds remain disguised equals chances of tax evasion, money laundering, terror finance. If P note owner sells his P notes to another foreign investor, government of India may be deprived of taxes. Compared to a scenario where Indian share owner is selling his shares to another Indian investor at profit, then government gets securities transaction tax and capital. Batch, PCB7, Mrunal's economy pillar #1. Gains tax on his profit, and he can't dodge it because demat accounts linked with PAN card. More on PAN card pillar #2 black money, therefore, SEBI tightening the control P notes, e.g., X category of FPIs can't issue P notes. Y category of FPI can issue P notes, but every time they issue P notes they'll have to deposit $1,000 to SEBI, etc. Table 4. Said that even for such simple things, I've to create such spoon-feeding tables, just to prevent FAQs from weak students. P-notes: foreign investor wants to invest in Indian share, a bond market without registering with SEBI. He wants to buy Indian companies' shares, bonds in India. Bharat Dr. foreign company wants to Indian to invest in its foreign Farangi shares, without registering with SEBI. ADR, a GDR non-American company wants to American people to invest in its shares without registering with American SEBI. GDR, similar concept, refer to respective segment. Masala, a panda, a kangaroo bonds, etc. Foreign company, a org wants to borrow money in a particular currency from a particular country. Refer to respective segment. Black question mark ornament, which of the following is issued by registered foreign portfolio investors to overseas investors who want to be part of the Indian stock market without registering themselves directly? Pre-19 said AQ67, A. Certificate of deposit, B. Commercial paper, C. Promissory note, D. Participatory note. 15.23.1 Writing hand conclusion. Financial markets. A well-functioning financial market catalyzes the process of economic development. It is therefore essential that such markets operate in a free, fair, competitive and transparent manner. Deepening the financial market helps mobilize the savings of poor households into the productive channels of the economy. Aforementioned initiatives, issues are greatly important in that regard, need to be addressed in priority basis. Pillar 1C2, Corporate Governance. 15.24 Company types. 15.24.1 Company types, based on incorporation. Chartered companies set up by a charter given by a king or queen, e.g. East India Company in 1600. Scale statutory companies set up by special acts of Parliament or state legislature, e.g. RBI, LIC, SBI. Black nib registered companies registered under the Companies Act, 1956, and later 2013, e.g. Tata Motors, Infosys. 15.24.2 Company types based on number of members. Private limited, public limited company, Companies Act 2013, members minute 2 to maximum 200 minutes, 7 to maximum unlimited number, depending on how many shares issued and purchased by the people. Can they invite public at large to buy shares or bonds? Can't a public limited company can invite public at large to subscribe to its shares and bonds if their shares are listed on a stock exchange, BSE, NSE, etc. It's a listed public limited company, e.g. Reliance, else it's an unlisted public limited company, e.g. India Post Payment Bank, IPPB. Batch, PCB7, Mrunal's Economy Pillar # Private limited, public limited company, Companies Act 2013, directors, minute max, 2 to 15, minute 3 to max 15. Out of them, 1 must be Indian resident, 1 must be woman, and 1/3 of the directors must be independent directors. Independent directors are persons without any pecuniary interest in company. They are supposed to protect minority shareholders' interests. Term limit not applicable. Their directors have age limit, term limit. Corporate governance norms. Norms either not applicable or relaxed. UPSC CSE not equal to CA. Companies Act requires them to hold specific number of annual meetings of board of directors, norms for quorum, mechanism for e-voting, have to appoint company secretary, implement mechanism for protecting whistleblowers, and so on. FAQ, how can PVT limited company have shareholding? ANS, they can ask friends and family, venture capital funds, angel investors, and other type of investors to invest in the company. They cannot put an advertisement in the newspaper that we are inviting the public at large to buy our shares. If they want to invite public at large, they need to convert registration from private limited company to public limited company. Companies usually start, as originally, as private limited companies. E.g. Infosys, private limited, in early 80s when their business grows and they want more capital, they will convert into public limited companies. They will issue shares for the first time, for the public at large, so we call it initial public offer, IPO, e.g. same Infosys, public limited, in early 90s launched IPO. In future same public limited company may also require more capital, so again, they will issue more shares for the second time, third time, etc. Then we call it follow on public offer, FPO, 15.24.3 Company types based on ownership government, public sector, private sector, when government owns 51% shares. Examples, Steel Authority of India, SAIL, India Post Payment Bank, IPPB. When private parties own 51%, e.g. Reliance, Tata, Adani. Holding company, a company that owns majority shares in another company. E.g. Tata Sons Limited holds majority shares of Tata Consultancy Services, TSC, Tata Steel, Tata Sky, etc. Subsidiary company, a company that is controlled by a parent holding company. E.GTCS, Tata Steel, Tata Sky are subsidiary co of Tata Sons. 15.24.4 Company types, MISC. Under Companies Act, one-person company, special type of private limited company having only one member. Budget 2021, one-person companies, OPCS, legal. Reforms in Companies Act 2.1 allow NRIs to easily register OPC in India. 2. OPC can be converted to other types of companies anytime, not-for-profit company, e.g. GSTN, NPCI, etc. Their profit is reinvested in business expansion. They get certain tax benefits and relief in how frequently they have to submit data to MCA. Dormant companies, A. Set up to start business in future. B. Set up to store intellectual property. C. Not filled annual returns for 2 consecutive years. Under LLP Act 2008. Limited Liability Partnership, LLP, company is formed by minimum 2 or more partners. Individual partners are shielded from joint liability created by another partner's wrongful business decisions or misconduct. e.g. Vajram and Ravi IAS Study Centre LLP's registration fees, auditing and reporting norms, tax liabilities, winding up process etc. are more flexible than a public or PVT, limited company registered under Companies Act. Under Indian Partnership Act 1932. A partnership firm is formed by minimum 2 or more partners. Each partner is liable jointly with all the other partners for losses, wrongful biz, decisions and misconduct. 15.24.5 Corporate Governance Small Companies given compliance relief. Budget 2021. Companies with paid-up capital not more than 2 crore Indian rupees and annual turnover not more than 20 crore Indian rupees equals treated as small companies. They'll be given relief in Companies Act-related compliance, e.g. how frequently they've to submit accounts and ownership-related documents to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, etc. 15.24.6 Commercial Organizations. Other types PSU, CPSE Ref, Pillar 2, Disinvestment MSME Ref, Pillar 1D, Financial Inclusion, Pillar 4B Startups Ref, Pillar 4B. 15.24.7 Corporate Governance LLP Settlement Scheme 2020. Limited Liability Partnership, LLP, companies are required to submit accounts and ownership-related documents to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. But many of them did not submit the documents on the deadline. Gov ordered them to pay late fees and penalties, threatened them with prosecuting cases under the LLP Act and cancelling their registration. LLP Settlement Scheme, 2020. If you submit the required documents between X to Y date, then you will have to pay less penalty, and we will give you immunity from prosecution, said the government. Budget 2021 will amend LLP Act for further ease of doing biz. 15.25 Statutory Bodies in Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA. 15.25.1 Competition Commission of India. Competition among companies equals consumer gets goods and services at the most competitive, for affordable prices. Therefore, government must prevent cartelization, price fixing or production fixing by a group of companies, prevent monopoly, single company commanding the production, supply, protect consumers' interests, and ensure freedom of trade. 1970, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices, MRTP Act. Later MRTP Act replaced with Competition Act, 2002, which has a statutory regulator Competition Commission of India, CCI, 1 chairman plus 6 members. In past, CCI has imposed penalties on cement companies, real estate companies. It is also investigating Airtel and other telecom companies for alleged cartelization. 15.25.2 Insolvency and Bankruptcy Board of India, IBBI. This too is a statutory body under the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA. Read previous pillar #1B2, NPA handout for more on IBC code. Table 5, Bodies under Companies, Act 2013 features National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT. National Financial Reporting Authority, NFRA. Investor Education and Protection Fund. Serious Fraud Investigation Office, SFIO. Members Judicial plus Technical. They've benches at Delhi, Kolkata, Jaipur, etc. Chairman plus members Boss, Corporation Affairs Secretary, IAS. Plus members from RBI, SEBI, financial experts. Civil servants and financial experts. Appeal NCLAT, Appellate Tribunal, NFIA, Appellate Authority, Regular Courts, Regular Courts. Cases here. The cases related to Companies Act, boardroom battles, merger acquisition, corporate. Set standards for auditors and CA, in listed companies and large unlisted companies. If malpractices investigate and they use unclaimed money from shares of bonds for financial literacy and awareness. Investigate white-collar, financial, frauds. Powers to search, seize, arrest. Once SFIO gets case, other. Batch. Features National Company Law Tribunal, NCLT. National Financial Reporting Authority, NFIA. Investor Education and Protection Fund. Serious Fraud Investigation Office, SFIO. Insolvency and Bankruptcy, I&B, debar them, powers of civil court. Agencies like CBI can't proceed. 15.25.3 Ministry of Corporate Affairs, also associated with Chartered Accountants Act 1949, regulates the CA profession through a statutory body, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, ICAI. ICAI also has IPA status under I&B Code. Company Secretaries Act, 1980 statutory body, Institute of Company Secretaries of India, ICSI. Also has IPA status. REF, more in pillar #1B2, Cost and Works Accountants Act, 1959 statutory body, Institute of Cost Accountants of India, ICAI. Also has IPA status. What does it mean? REF, more in pillar #1B2, Legislative Responsibilities of MCA 1860, Societies Registration, Act 4 Registration of Literary, Scientific and Charitable Societies. E.g. Sahitya Akademi, National School of Drama, etc. 1932, Partnership Act Companies Act 1956-2013. 2008, Limited Liability Partnership Act E-Governance Initiatives of MCA INC 29 online form to registration of new company. Later it was replaced with simplified pro forma for incorporating companies, SPICE, online form. MCA 21 portal, where companies can file online documents related to Companies Act compliance. MCA 21 version 3.0 equals this latest version 3.0 portal will have additional modules for e-scrutiny, e-adjudication, e-consultation, and compliance management. Offices Indian Corporate Law Service, ICLS, via UPSC CSE exam. 15.26 Corporate Governance. Figure 12. Cyrus Mystery. It is a way of directing the company to protect the interest of all stakeholders and ensure 3 types of compliance. Batch, PC. Compliance examples. Legal regulatory. Company obtaining legal entity identifier, LEI, number as mandated by RBI. Company setting up internal complaints committee as mandated by Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace, Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal, Act, 2013 POSH Act. Technical. Companies keeping balance sheets, as per the IND AS accounting standards. Automobile company producing car engines, as per Bharat stage emission norms. Moral ethical Gillette scrapping the ad contract with cricketer Hardik Pandya for his sexist comments against women on Coffee with Karen show. Absence of corporate governance leads to fraud, embezzlement, erosion of investors' confidence. E.g. Satyam computer scandal, Chairman Ramalinga Raju manipulated account books, boardroom battles at Tata Group, Cyrus Mistry vs Ratan Tata, and Infosys Group, Narayana Murthy vs Vishal Sikha fighting, 2019. Whistleblower complaint about financial irregularities. ISSI, boss Chanda Kochar gave 3,000 Indian rupees crore loan to Videocon company without due diligence, which turned NPA. Therefore, Companies Act 2013 mandates companies to impose term limits on directors. Appoint independent directors. One person can't become director in more than X number of companies. One CA can't audit more than Y number of companies. Company has to set up whistleblower protection mechanism. Company can't give loan to its directors and so forth. An auditor is authorized personnel that verifies the accuracy of financial records. Their primary objective is to protect businesses from fraud. Companies Act Companies Auditors Report Order, CARO, equals auditors have to annually submit reports to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Companies Act also has provisions for related party transactions, RPT, to avoid scam, embezzlement. More in pillar #4, ease of doing biz. 15.26.1 Corporate Governance. Notable committees for improving corporate governance in India. Kumar Mangalam Birla, 1999, Narayana Murthy, 2003, Eddie Godre, 2012, Uday Kotak, 2017. Further, SEBI too can issue directives to public limited companies in the interest of investors, beyond what is required under Companies Act. Such as Table 6, raised hand not imp to minimize all provision. Just observe pattern. Most of the deadlines postponed due to Corona. SEBI implemented Uday Kotak committee suggestions from 2020 April #split CEO, MD, and Chairman. One person can't occupy both positions in his company, e.g. Gautam Adani, top 500 listed costs. Although now SEBI implemented Uday Kotak committee suggestions from 2020 April #made it voluntary now. Companies Act requires minute 3 directors in public listed company, but SEBI mandated to have minute 6 directors top 2,000 listed cost companies. Act doesn't prescribe gender of independent director, but SEBI mandated at least one independent woman director. Top 1,000 listed costs. One person can serve as director in how many companies? Companies Act, maximum 10, but SEBI required 7. #Atmanirbhar equals SEBI deferred many of above guidelines. Dynamically changing info, so we need not chase it at ball-by-ball commentary. 15.26.2, CSR, corporate social responsibility. Mandated under Companies Act 2013, last 3 years average profit spend 2% of that on CSR, education, environment, public health, sanitation, disaster management etc. Applicable on both public limited and private limited with very huge profit, turnover and net worth. Raised hand. What's the difference between these terms? What's the exact figure? ANS, UPSC is not chartered account exam. Ministry of Corporate Affairs, MCA, gives national CSR awards to companies. 15.26.3 Scales Atmani, Corporate Governance Companies Act relaxed. Companies Act requires the companies to hold meeting of the board of directors and meeting of the shareholders every X number of days etc. This norm is relaxed due to Corona lockdown. Guidelines also provided for e-voting and video conferencing. Companies Amendment Bill 2020. Many offences under Companies Act have been decriminalised, i.e. villains can settle by paying fines, and he'll not face arrest or jail. OEG if corporate social responsibility reports not submitted to government on time, delay in holding annual general meeting of the shareholders etc. Blackdown pointing double triangle fines are penalties for small companies, one-person companies, startups and producer companies. A producer company, PC, is a registered company by a group of farmers, agriculturists. We will learn in Pillar 4A, Farmer Producer Company, FPC. 15.26.4 Writing hand conclusion, corporate governance. A healthy corporate sector plays an important role in creating jobs, improving exports, and boosting GDP growth rate. But lack of corporate governance erodes investors' confidence and prevents deepening of the financial market. Thereby it harms economic growth of a country. Aforementioned issues are greatly important in that regard need to be addressed in priority basis. 15.26.5 Writing hand mock questions for mains, GSM 3, 250 words each. 1, GSM 2-2015, in the light of the Satyam scandal, 2009, discuss the changes brought in corporate governance to ensure transparency, accountability. 2009. 2, GSM 3-2015, craze for gold in Indians have led to a surge in import of gold in recent years and put pressure on balance of payments and external value of rupee. In view of this, examine the merits of sovereign gold bond scheme and inflation index bonds, IIB. 3. Just as good governance is necessary for vibrant Indian democracy, corporate governance is necessary for vibrant Indian economy, elaborate. 4. Discuss the significance of deepening the capital market to resolve the twin balance sheet syndrome, TBS, in Indian economy. 5. Discuss the significance of the Securities Market Code and Investors Charter in deepening the capital market of India. 6. Why are Indian financial regulators apprehensive about 1. P-notes, 2. Cryptocurrencies. 1, 2. Next handout, 1D, insurance, pension, financial inclusion.